All right, Chad, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I just finished mastering our record with the engineer, and I'm holding it right now, and it feels incredible.
And we're back.
All right.
Wow. Well, Chad, we're sorry that we've been talking so much and you haven't really gotten a chance to talk yet.
You guys are good at it.
Well, Chad's not probably that bothered by it. It's just the fans that have never listened to this podcast that just downloaded it to hear the King's Kaleidoscope song are probably really irritated at hearing three weirdos.
Who are these crazy
20
hicks?
minutes.
That's true. Chad, how much do you talk in a normal day? Are you a big talker?
It just all depends. I'm either pretty introverted and don't want to talk at all, or I'm at the same time a verbal processor. So
Wow,
I'm thinking
that's an
I talk a
enigma
lot.
there, man.
I know.
I think Chad definitely qualifies as an introvert, but you're just saying you
but I verbally
process.
process a lot. Like
Yeah.
I talk with. I don't have a conversation shorter than half an hour with you on the phone. It seems like.
Well, I think that might be largely my fault.
yeah,
Chad.
it probably is.
So, Chad, if you're talking, it's for a cause though, or a reason, right? You don't like talking just for fun.
Yeah, mostly I would say. I don't know. That's a good question.
That's the exact
Toby.
opposite of us. We always talk for fun,
Yeah, just
nonstop. It's like a sport for us. We really enjoy it. So
It really is. I know there's so many people that think Matt's got a podcast now. He gets to do that. What is a podcast? Oh, you just talk a bunch. Oh, I guess I saw that coming. That's exactly what he ought to be doing.
hey, we were talking Matt. We were talking about podcasting. And this is what we do, and I really did realize, like, no matter what, there is no chance my father can understand what I do.
No,
he cannot understand. Like, there's no chance he can understand that I would do a podcast. I would spend my time. That potentially this could want. We would have advertising. This would be like a radio. He can't. He cannot comprehend it.
We'd probably
I
drive him
think
crazy,
you can.
too.
I tell him that in the intro a lot, Toby. All you got to tell him for old people like your dad is say, it's like radio. It's like they have a radio show. And you know how on your cable TV you have on demand? It's like a radio show on demand.
But
No, but you don't understand. My dad would go, "That's not on the radio." He said, "I can turn my radio on in my truck right now." And he would ask me, "Does this job? Am I able to get overtime?"
So, Chad, you just came from the mastering studio just now straight to my house. Here.
I did straight over. Yeah, I was there all day yesterday, and then had to go back because there's so many songs. Took us 2 days.
All right, so your new
Finish
album is
the
called
record.
Becoming Who We Are, and we're going to listen to a song in just a minute. But let's talk about the theme of the record and what's really special about it. And Joey was asking about this earlier. This is actually your first full-length album that you've ever made, but you're a real band that's been around a long time and have millions of fans and are awesome.
Millions.
How is this your first full-length album?
We just have never had the opportunity for one reason or another. It just kept passing us by, and it was really frustrating at times. We've gotten to do a bunch of EPs, and I was working for church for the last 4 years, and so that's kind of what we were doing, leading worship and doing that, and just never had the opportunity. And then I stopped working for church last December. And I could basically do anything I wanted, and this is what I decided to do.
So
That's awesome.
is this all original tunes, or some of it hymns like the ones you did on the EP? Or
Yeah, there's a few hymns. The vast majority are original tunes. There's only a few hymns, that we just kept because, they were special to us, or we had just musically they were really fun, and we wanted to be able to, share them. So.
And this is the most impressive thing to me is how many songs are on this sucker? How many tracks?
There are 18 tracks.
Wow.
Let's just get into the question that tons of people are asking us right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're on BadChristian. You're on Tooth and Nail. You're an independent band. This is self-funded. What's going on?
Yeah,
People don't understand.
we have a very independent mindset, and with this LP, I basically was kind of on my own after, stepping out of this full-time ministry job that I'd been in for a while, and wanted to produce my own record. It was kind of my dream since I've been a kid. I always wanted to be a producer, and I'd been hanging around different studio guys and stuff for a while, and so basically just took it upon myself. Like, I'm going to record this massive, almost like little mini orchestra I've got and arrange it all, and so we
But you
produced.
still spend a ton of money doing it.
I mean, we did a pretty good job. It's been hard. It's like we just hit up all our friends for favors. Borrowed all
well,
your
you did
gear,
spend a lot of
your
money
drum
and
kit,
millions of hours on the thing. So
for sure.
But
yeah.
so are you? If
Money
you're on
and
Tooth and Nail,
time,
don't they
definitely.
pay for everything? If you're on Bad Christian, don't we pay for everything? How does that work?
No, it's self-produced and self-funded. So we just been saving our money from the few gigs that we can do because everybody in the band works full time, and just kind of like it's our little baby, and we've just been really building it up and just taking. I mean, basically what we've needed help with is marketing and distribution, and so you guys were super freaking awesome with Live in Color, and then we needed your help again with this one, and then we also hit up Tooth and Nail, and they're helping us out. So basically with all that stuff, you guys are able to come in and help us get it out to more people.
So basically, the nature of your deal with us and Tooth and Nail both is that you are still, as you would consider, an independent band, self-produced, self-funded, and then we have specialized roles. Tooth and Nail is going to do the distribution. They're awesome at that, and they're going to get it out in stores, and they're going to do a bunch of marketing and stuff, and we're going to do all our marketing and serve our fans and run this pre-order and do a bunch of stuff as well. So people are asking, how is that? That doesn't make sense. Are you on two different labels? And to answer that, first of all, we're not anything like a traditional label. What we're doing is carving out new space in the music world where we're helping our independent artists. We're partnering with them. We're not owning their music. We don't own the masters. And in this case, Tooth and Nail doesn't own the masters either, right?
No.
Right.
No.
So King's Kaleidoscope is not a Tooth and Nail band in the sense that most are. They partner with Tooth and Nail, they partner with Bad Christian, and remain independent, and therefore the responsibility of their career and all the money and the money needs still remain on their shoulders, which has been pretty stressful because you haven't been working for a long time, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I would say it actually hasn't been too stressful based on just the other stuff that's been happening in my life this year. It's, the record is kind of the smallest thing that's been stressful.
Well, let me stop you right there. Let's just take a second here. This is what everybody's been waiting for. This is the exclusive world premiere of the first King's Kaleidoscope song. So if you want to hear it, this is the first place anybody's been able to hear it. So we're going to play that track, and then what I want to ask you about is what you mean by that. I want to hear about your year and all the struggles behind getting to this point. So let's play the track, and then we'll get a little more in depth on that. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, so this is a track called I Know, right?
Yep.
And it's your favorite track on the record, or you think it's the one people would like the most, or how did you pick it?
Don't have favorites. Just felt right to be the first one for everybody to hear. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's check it out. Here we go.
My gosh, it's like Chad. I really think I don't think I've ever heard someone who's listened to your music not be taken completely off guard. I don't think bands come along too often where they really revolutionize stuff. And I mean, I'm not just saying
The only
that.
other one I know is Emery.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're like the new Emery.
But no, seriously, man. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Thank
Now,
you.
let me ask you this. You probably get this a lot anyway. But would you call yourself just a band that writes songs directly for worship? Would you call yourself a worship band? Like, is this because I think Live in Color definitely for me seemed to be a worship album that I kind of listened to for that purpose.
I think the most helpful way for me to think about it is, I think theologically I believe that every single person is a worshiper.
Yep.
You talk about that all the time.
Yep.
And so to me, when people ask me that question, I just kind of go, how is Lil Wayne not a worship artist?
Right.
And
He just worships different
right. He
stuff.
just worships different stuff. And in that sense, I'm just another human that is a worshiper. And a lot of my music is to God or about God because he's the biggest thing in my life, and that's kind of my simple answer to that.
Yeah,
I guess.
and
Are all your songs about God?
All of them have a piece of that in there. Yeah.
Now I agree with you wholeheartedly, Chad. But don't you think that some people write songs for the purpose for others to worship to them, maybe even corporately?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a definite niche and way of writing music for congregational worship,
Yeah.
for Sunday morning stuff. And I think that starting with Live in Color, I had stopped working for a church, and so that was the first time that we could kind of do something different, and that was definitely a big turning point. And I think that this record is an even further turn away from that, and that's partly what the title points to. The title points to a couple of different things, but becoming who we are, even musically for us as a band, we were always operating under the umbrella of a very specific purpose, which was to kind of rally everybody to sing together on Sunday mornings, songs to God. And now we don't have that purpose anymore, and that's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. And so now we're just kind of getting to make art that's it feels more personal, and less corporate. And so in that sense, musically, it feels like we're becoming who we are a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting.
Now, Chad, too, earlier you were talking about that making this record was like the least stressful thing, and I know that some of that comes from your transition from working at a church for a while to new things. So what's been going on? What's been going on, and how has that influenced your lyrics on this album?
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, what I would say this time a year ago, just like the sequence of events has been crazy. This time a year ago, my wife and I went and did some really intensive marriage counseling, which was incredible. And God did a lot of stuff in our relationship. I think that God, in a sense, that was the beginning of a season of like a lot of hard stuff. And shortly after that, coming back to Seattle, both my wife and I resigned from our jobs at the church that we had met at, been married at, been a part of since we'd known each other, helped plant a location out on a college campus. That was really hard because it's like leaving two careers and your church family and home at the same time. And then I think 2 weeks after we resigned, my wife got in a car accident and hurt her foot real bad. And then only a few weeks after that, my father-in-law was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer out of nowhere and died 10 weeks later.
Oh, gosh.
And wasn't a Christian at the time, but just towards the very end of his life accepted Christ, which was, pretty miraculous. And then sort of after that whole ordeal, which is just, it's just like we're already feeling like we're in a storm. And I would say, pointing to the marriage thing, the thing I would say about that was the cool thing is that through all of these things, my wife and I have just, our marriage has been strengthened beyond what I could have imagined that, we could have happened to our relationship in 1 year. But yeah, after my father-in-law passed away, then there was a bunch.
So that's your wife's dad. He was diagnosed with cancer, and 10 weeks later,
he
was out of the blue, and 10 weeks later, he was gone.
Yep. Yeah. So
that's a really intense thing. I mean, just to talk
super
about
intense.
that for a second. Toby's wife's dad died when she was how old, Toby?
She's 17.
When his wife's 17, her dad died. Dave, our drummer's wife, her dad died when she was around the same age as that. And then this year, my wife's dad died too.
Yep.
So Toby and Dave and I, at least,
it's all
oh
crazy.
wait, and Joey, Priscilla's dad died as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and Joey's wife's dad died this year.
Yeah, he
Wow.
actually,
right?
we actually got a phone call on a Sunday night that he was being rushed to the emergency room because it was just too unbearable. He was diagnosed with cancer Sunday, died 3 days later.
Oh my gosh. Bridget's dad's was really quick like that too. He died within a couple of weeks of when he had something went wrong. I mean, I don't even know what that is. It sounds like too much to even be a coincidence, but it's crazy. And being husbands of to them is crazy. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
Or I partially understand where you're coming from on that. So just that one alone is enough that's enough difficulty for a whole year, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Like any one of these things would be like, that was the huge event for the year that sort of shaped you and made you different. And it just seemed like they just kept happening one after another. And as we were kind of like settling back into life after that, we had started this entire record. We had probably half of it tracked with the church that we were at, and when I then resigned, it was kind of a little bit of a struggle because I was trying to, basically buy back the record so I could finish it, and they wouldn't give it back to me. And luckily, I owned the name King's Kaleidoscope, so we didn't have to kind of start over. And that's sort of when we just launched into Live in Color, and we did that with you guys. And then, then we launched into, this whole record. I've re-recorded and rewritten more songs and added to. But it's only been, I think, 4 months. So 18 tracks in 4 months. So I basically just dove into that, which, was
So, I mean, this is the
stressful,
second time you've recorded it.
Yes, so that was another stressful thing.
Yeah.
And then my wife and I, we're going to have our first baby this November, and he passed away at 21 weeks. And so that was heartbreaking because we were really, obviously just so excited to be pregnant and having our first boy. And yeah, we went in for a normal ultrasound to find out if he was a boy or a girl, and there was all kinds of problems. And a few days later, he had passed away in the womb.
Oh, man.
And so it wasn't quite a miscarriage. It was because he was big enough that, so we just did a normal delivery and a normal birth, and that has been the most recent thing. It just felt like every one of these things was too much, and that one just like put us over the edge.
Yeah.
And I was in the middle of doing this record by myself, like trying to figure out how to record it for dirt cheap, and hadn't been working in 6 months or something like that, and it just was terrible. And I think that, once again, when I think about this record, it really is not that big of a deal. It's kind of like, I'm sure you guys think about your podcast this way sometimes, where you're just like, at the end of the day, anything that we're creating in life, it's just going to fade. It's just going to vanish. And so I think that this year God has given me that perspective. And, once again, my wife is the one that kind of came up with the title for the record. I'll read a quote. It comes from a author called Frederick, I don't know how to say his last name, but Buchner or something. But I'm going to read this quote, and it basically just, a lot of the record ended up having to do, especially the newer songs I was writing, with just about looking towards heaven and realizing that really is what we've got as Christians. Like, this is the worst it's going to get, and we have an actual hope to look forward to. And I'll read this quote. It says that you can be lonely in a crowd, maybe especially there, is readily observable. You can also be lonely with your oldest friends or your family, even with the person you love most in the world. To be lonely is to be aware of an emptiness that takes more than people to fill it. It is to sense that something is missing which you cannot name. And there's a quote from Psalm 137 that he inserts here. By the waters of Babylon, there we sat down and wept when we remembered Zion, sings the psalmist. Maybe in the end it is Zion that we're lonely for, the place we know best by longing for it, where at last we become who we are, where finally we find home. So, yeah, we named our boy Zion, and it was pretty crazy. My wife and I, we hadn't picked a name, and it was a pretty wild way that it came about. But we were just sitting on the couch after we had found out that he had, it was before we found out he had died, but we thought it was very likely, and I just thought of, like, that's where he's going. He's going home. We should name him Zion. And I asked my wife, Alex, and I just said, what if we name him Zion? And she said she had been thinking at the exact same moment, I don't want to give him any name unless we name him Zion. And so we just settled it. And then a couple of weeks later, she had been reading this quote that I just was reading here, and it just felt like, man, all this stuff in my life, and I've got this thing that I'm working super hard on. Like, what does all this mean? And basically, I want this record to point people to the fact that, like, we have a home and a reality that's so much bigger and grander than what we're paying attention to, and all the details of our lives that we think about and that drive us crazy day to day, or all the hardships that we're facing. And, just where it says, maybe in the end it is Zion that we're lonely for, the place we know best by longing for it, where at last we become who we are. Like, that's heaven. And, yeah, that's
Chad,
been my year.
mean, that is really difficult to listen to you say all that, and I'm gonna have to just thank you for saying that on the podcast and doing that right here. That's pretty intense, man. I don't something like losing a child, and especially losing a child in the womb or miscarriage, is such a big issue, and it's one of the least talked about ones. It's something that I never even understood or thought about until I was well into my 20s or 30s, when I knew somebody my age that had it, and it was somebody that was on tour with us at the time, and they wound up going home because their wife was pregnant. And I had never thought about it before, because people treat that issue so private, and people don't even tell anybody they're pregnant in case they lose the baby.
Yeah.
And it's just it just drives me crazy that people overlook that issue. And to hear you bravely say your son is named Zion. I'm looking at your arm right now. You have a tattoo with his name on there. You love your son Zion. He's in heaven now, and you're going to go see him.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, and for not just like having it be a bad thing that happened to your family privately. I truly believe that's going to minister to and help a lot of people, that you'd be willing to talk about it to such a large format. And Chad, Toby, and Joe, y'all didn't hear this, but Chad sent me a song that he wrote about this, or to Zion, and it just 100% destroyed me. This song is just like, I knew the story already when he had sent me the song, and it was just incredibly difficult. And is that song going to be on the record? You're going to include it?
Yeah.
Chad, that's just unbelievable, and sorry you had to go through that, for sure. And I think what's so special about what you just shared is I get kind of frustrated. Like, there was actually a time, and I love the church that I work at, Seacoast Church. There's a video that they showed, and it was like a collage of all sorts of people that went through super, super tough times, and every single one of them was ending well. Like, every single one of them. And so then it got to the last one. I was like, this is it. This is when God gets glory, even though it doesn't end well. Sure enough, it was a couple that went through 2 miscarriages, and then they got pregnant. And it was just like, man, can we give an example of someone who is currently in pain, currently not knowing, if God's going to deliver in the manner in which we want him to, and still say, yeah, but you're God. I mean, because I just think that's so important. We don't worship God just for the happy times and just for the times when he blesses us. We actually see blessing in, the pain. So I really appreciate you sharing that, man, for sure.
Thank you.
Have people been supportive? Have you found people say it in sensitive things? Is what I've heard a lot of people say about when you lose a baby, that people say, well, you'll get another one and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been
You'll
rare.
get another one?
No, I swear. If some people say that, I'll try
My
again, you'll have
Lord.
another one. No, I'm serious, because a lot of people don't really have that approach. Like, I'll be with my baby in heaven. They go, all right, well, I want a baby. Let's get another one.
Yeah, I mean, people have been actually really, really, really helpful, and they've been super kind and encouraging to us. And yeah, we've actually felt really supported.
What's your wife's name again?
Alex.
Did she slip into like depression or anything like that? Was just, I mean, obviously she was extremely upset, but did she get super depressed?
No, I mean, this is like 4 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
This has happened.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, that's the thing, is like, I'll tell you that the most peaceful night of my entire life was the night when we went to the hospital to give birth, and we're just waiting there, and Alex was just trying to sleep, and I can't explain that, except for that I'd prayed so much to be able to have peace. And I just remember just laying next to her and just feeling like there's no reason right now that I should feel any peace in my mind or my heart or my soul right now at all. And I felt more peaceful than I ever had my entire life. And after we gave birth, we got to, see our son and just like hold him for a couple hours. And it was by far the best moment of my entire life. And we like completely realized that we were parents, and it was just like euphoric. And then, when you have to leave him at the hospital and go home, it's like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's still been that I think that God has just really blessed us with that, and that it's so freaking hard, and it's so sad, and we cry so much. And at the exact same time, I feel like God is really close. I think that's because, living on the bottom of, I don't know living like at the bottom of your heart in some sense is, I think, where you see things the most clearly and you feel things the most accurately. And I think we're sort of still in that place right now. So
we have a lot of listeners that aren't so sure about this Jesus thing. Some of them are professing atheists. So some people are honestly in their hearts just calling bullshit, saying, well, that's a great story that he overcame, but wow, that's sad that he sees it as God and not himself. Like, how would you answer someone that says, dude, if there is a God, he sucks? Like, look what he's let you go through. How would you respond to someone who's thinking that right now?
I don't really know.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I guess maybe because I've never had an atheist friend that would talk to me like that.
Yeah.
But I would just say, like, I mean, I guess I wouldn't try to. Right, like, here's the thing. Right now in my life, I feel like I have no reason to try to convince anybody of anything. It seems foolish to me to be trying to, like, convince an atheist to be a Christian.
Right.
Like, and I don't know why that is. I think partially it's because I just know that God is so powerful that I just want my friends who aren't Christians or people who aren't Christians to just know by just being with me, without having to have an argument or something like that. And I think that, like, people that we know that aren't Christians that have been around through the two deaths that we've been through this year, have mentioned that, and they've seen that in us, and they'll even say that they're praying for us, even though we know they don't pray. Right. And I think that that's all it takes. I don't think it would have to be like. So I that's not really a clear answer.
No,
but
I mean, that's exactly what I'm getting at. Is I really do think that is us as Christians. That's our strongest testimony. Is in situations like this when we just know that we know that we know. I mean, there's no reason why you and Alex should have had peace at the hospital. No reason at all. And you're not a dummy. You're not insane. You're an intelligent guy. And so that to me sometimes is all we got. And I totally agree as far as convincing an atheist. I mean, sometimes I have to say, look, I can't prove anything to you. All I know is I know, and there's no way of getting around it.
Which, that's the song I just played, that's the whole vibe of that song, is basically declaring, like, I know this is what's going to happen, even when I don't feel like it, because that's what faith is, and that's what belief is when it doesn't feel like it, we're trusting the gospel, we're trusting Scripture, and we're trusting the Holy Spirit. So
I think that we get into trouble when, I think you're right, Chad, when we start defending, like we have to put up a defense, meaning that it could be penetrated or something like that. And that's what you're saying is there's no need for a defense, that you have you have hope even when you don't understand, even when it is hard. And it's not like you just said. Obviously, this has probably been one of the toughest years of your entire life, and and it's probably not. It's not over. Like, I mean, you're grieving. You're going to probably grieve potentially for the rest of your life in a certain way of because that was your son, and so I think that the truth in that is It's okay. We have emotions. You know, we are able to experience sadness. We're able to go through all these things, and our hope always is in the joy and the goodness of God, even when we don't understand. And so I don't have to prove that to anybody. That I'm not going to ever convince anybody of that, and I don't need to. You know, like what you're saying sounds really beautiful. Is that's between you and your wife. You and your wife have a peace and a hope that surpasses understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard to move on now.
No, it's okay.
We can't make
It's all right.
it's hard to move on and start making fun of Joey's fat after that.
My friend Caleb, one time, he was in a band, and I went to see them. I think the name of the club.
Now you make Joey sound like an old Jewish guy.
I actually want to thank Chad for calling me out as far as my comments on atheists, because I obviously don't think atheists are like, you're so stupid, blah, blah, blah. But
I actually say that all the time. Keep going.
but there is a deep belief of, well, that's cool that you have that belief that helps you through times of trouble, but at the same time, they're like, it's not real. It brings you comfort, and so you keep gravitating towards it. And that's really all I mean.
Yeah,
by that. But I'm glad Chad clarified.
The best defense is no defense. Jesus has got it. I don't.
Yeah.
My hope is in Him, and that's what's really powerful. I think. For
Yeah,
sure.
and then you usually say the best defense is no defense. Jesus has got it. F you, and you usually just say it though.
But like you actually say the F word, and that's messed up.
Like the last part is just no good.
What is the F word? I don't know what it is.
Huh?
What is the F
It's
word?
Fornicate you.
Have you guys dropped an F-bomb on the podcast yet?
Yeah, we do. Sometimes we do.
Do you know
and
the
we
most
bleep it.
countercultural thing you could do at this point would be to not cuss at all? People would freak out. Your blogs would explode.
Yeah, they
Bad
would
Christian
explode
guys
if
have
we
stopped
did nothing.
cussing.
Chad is like one of the most. He likes to go against the grain and think crazy things. Chad says that he would give a business all his money if they didn't have a website.
The internet is dead. I hate the internet.
So Chad main goal is to be the hippest of the hip, like so far
get
ahead
outta
of the
here.
curve that
I just don't
wouldn't
like
even have
it.
a website.
I don't know if my life is better because I have an iPhone and a laptop. Like realistically, I have no idea.
I agree. I think it's not. I actually think it is not better being connected to the internet. I don't see how it really helps you. I know people go, yeah, but you wouldn't know what's going on in the world. That's probably pretty awesome.
Yeah, it would be good.
You know what I mean?
Hey, Chad, so before the commercial break, I was talking about my depression. I really was curious because I don't get this opportunity that often, and I really, you do not have to worry about offending me in the least. So you don't know me that well. Toby and Matt, they at least have a reference point where when they hear someone say, yeah, I wanted to die. I wanted a car to hit me so I could die. They at least, like Matt said, he's just like, that's unbelievable. I can't believe you said that. But Matt also has a reference point of, okay, I know Joey. I know who he is. I know his wife. I know his kids. I know he's a decent pastor. He's my friend. You don't have that reference point. So automatically what goes on inside your head? Do you think, what the hell is he like? Do you think, man, that dude's crazy? Do you think, man, that dude just wants attention? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I just feel like Debbie Downer over here or something. But honestly, when you guys were talking about that, I had a family member commit suicide a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I just was thinking while you guys were talking about that, like, it's probably not very funny for people to be listening to this podcast to have had that happen, like joking about it. That's what I thought. So that was about it. And then I started, that was about all I thought.
Gotcha.
You're saying that you thought what we're saying and doing is insensitive at the least, if not inappropriate to even do.
Totally. Why joke about suicide? Because especially for Joey, if that's like a legit thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so weird that you
struggled
say that,
with.
because I guess I would have to go back and rethink what they were saying, because I didn't even. It seemed like more of a articulate.
I didn't think we were making light of
No.
suicide.
Yeah, I didn't think that. I just meant like like arguing about what the definition of suicide
gotcha.
was. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
like we're arguing about the definition of suicide.
No, yeah.
Cool.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like, can somebody just get a dictionary and
Right,
just
but
pick
that's
one to
that's where I
agree
would
with?
disagree with you on. That's what I love about that is that that's three buddies that know each other.
Yeah, for sure.
The problem is when you don't talk about suicide, that's when it happens. People aren't talking about like Robin Williams. I mean.
Yep.
Tons of people around you, if you don't mention stuff or don't say stuff like you know, like today I was listening to a Robin Williams podcast and he made some jokes about suicide.
You just said if you don't talk about suicide, it will happen. So everybody that doesn't talk about suicide are going to kill themselves.
There you go, making fun of suicide.
Yeah, way to make fun of suicide. No, I'm just saying I've written songs about suicide that have been powerful. We have tons of people at these living room shows come up to us, and I agree. If it came off at all that we would make light of suicide, no. But what I would say is, if you have any feelings like that, talk to somebody. Yeah. Be open about it. Don't be hidden. And I think the world's a better place. The more we get off our shoulders, the lighter we make things.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I think that's
Totally.
one of the things that just, especially if you're a King's Kaleidoscope fan and you've never listened to this podcast before, yeah, that's all we're doing here is we just talk. This is very close to how Toby and Joey and I would talk if we were just in the car driving down the road.
Oh, it's the same.
So that's the one thing that we do that kind of is unique, whereas most media outlets and shows, and certainly on anything on TV, and certainly anything that comes out of a church, you wouldn't make a joke about stuff, or because when I'm making fun of Joey. I'm not making fun of other people or suicide. I am making fun of Joey, and that is okay, right, Joey?
Yes, it is.
Most of the time, at least.
It's right, but I would say in all fairness, we're a little more insane when it's just us. Like, there's no way we could have because we joke around in such a bizarre, offensive way when it's just the three of us. There's no way we could put that on the air.
Sure.
So,
but, I would say that I've noticed sometimes that other people, like, you ever notice it in our Facebook box or something, people, when they send us messages, they talk kind of offensive to us, like as an endearing way. They say, like, what's up, dickheads? I love your podcast.
So, Chad,
tell you.
Chad, we established that we're like the only, if you want to call us ministry, Christian organization, or business or whatever, we're the only one where people will email us telling us the worst things about themselves to be a part of what we're doing.
People often message us and go, "Hey, I think I could really help you guys out. I'd like to be a part of your team. Here's my resume. I cheated on my wife, and then I did this."
and we don't think
not
that's
like,
good.
and they're not bragging. I'm just saying, but people like
Right,
you
they
wouldn't
have-
typically, when you're trying to be a volunteer for somebody or do something,
Right.
lead with your worst attributes. But that is typically what we see. So we kind of count that as a victory in a way.
And they're basically saying, "Look, here's where I came from. Here's my experience."
Right. And that's awesome that people can be that transparent with you guys.
Chad, do you think that, like, just the, it's like a cliche question, but do you think, based on this interview and stuff, do you think that good art and music does come out of pain and loss? Is that a real thing? Do you identify with that?
I think it comes out of that. I also think it comes out of happiness. I think it comes out of all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely. I just think that there's something very unique about, art. You feel like you really work hard and earn art when it comes out of pain. Like, it feels like more of a struggle, which is definitely what this album has been. It's come out of a ton of work and a ton of pain. So yeah, it feels like, it feels in a sense like we've earned it. And I know, my Reformed theology and stuff, I know I didn't earn it, but that's what it feels like a little bit.
it makes you feel more satisfied with it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And so what were you saying about your blog post, Joey?
Well, I was just saying that I wrote a blog post. It's kind of just a fun little write-up on where I came from musically, from listening to the radio station to my parents saying I couldn't anymore, to listening to Stryper, and then just our – got into hardcore, then Tooth and Nail, and I really do kind of I can't put a finger on it, and it may just be a bogus thought, but I really do see Kings as just kind of pioneering a new season. Like I don't know, there's just something about it. And some things that I wrote that I see when I watch you guys play on the Live in Color videos is there doesn't seem to be an intentional drive for a particular image. Now, I don't think anyone can ever shed that drive at all because we're sinful natures. There's no drive, obviously, to copy. There's no drive to distinguish yourselves as something in particular, like a certain art form, a certain genre, a certain belief system. There's no drive to be someone who you're not. And, on top of the fact that it's just unbelievable music, man, that's just awesome
yeah,
stuff.
it truly is. The way I would say it truly is original art that I've always been really attracted to. And the primary thing that I'm attracted to is not just the orchestration and all the instruments, but Chad's delivery and confidence and performance in his own voice, and what comes across through the microphone or into the speakers is just, to me, it's out of this world. It's something that even speakers and microphones can't even capture, and I'm always thrilled and excited. I've seen Chad sing live at church dozens, hundreds of times, and so being able to work with you, Chad, is an absolute pleasure. To be honest, it's also insanely difficult because you're insanely difficult. You really are. I'm going to shift my tone here a minute. You get on my damn nerves so bad. I've said this a couple of times before, but the three most difficult people in my entire life are, number one, Toby. Number two, my wife, Bridget, and number three, Chad is now on the roster. Chad is so picky. Chad is so deliberate. Chad has such high expectations, and he has very little thought or skill of trying to smooth it over, and I really like that. I mean, honestly, what you could say is I'm attracted to those people because all three of those people are insanely interesting and challenging, and I love all three of you guys. Bridget, I love you. Toby, I love you. Chad, you're great. I enjoy working with you, and I even appreciate your difficulty and your attention to detail and stuff like that.
Matt, you realize that's why Kings is so damn good. I mean,
yeah, I do. That's what I'm saying. I really do acknowledge that, but I want people to know that Chad will text me about the weirdest thing that it means nothing, and then I'm like, and he has such a strong delivery and straight face about stuff. He actually makes me react and go, oh, I better do something about this. I better fix this. My wife does the same thing. Toby, same thing. I feel like I guess it's just people that I either respect or something. I don't know, but I find you a compelling character, a compelling performer, and I'm thrilled to be able to work with you. It's worth it to me, no matter what. So I love your music, and I'm thrilled to be able to do it. I wish you could play a song on the show today, but can't do it.
We'll do it sometime, man.
Yeah, would you come back on and do a song?
Totally. I'd love to.
What else do y'all want to know about Kings or Chad? What else do you think the listeners want to know that we've left out today?
Like, how long have you guys been married?
Where do you get your material?
Well, just about the record mainly, right? Just the record day. Have we hit the record release and all that stuff or anything like that?
It looks like the record's going to be out around October 14th, if not officially. The pre-order is live right now at kingskaleidoscope.com. If you go to BadChristian, you'll be able to find it very easily. We're going to keep promoting it on our podcast and on all our channels, and we're glad to be a partner with you. There'll be a store up eventually with King's Kaleidoscope once this pre-order's done, and we will be your source for all the info and intel on them. They really, really do fit. With Chad being so open and honest about all the stuff in his life, it's just kind of a no-brainer. That's exactly what we do here. That's something that we value very much, and, again, we just find really compelling. So thank you, Chad, for being on the show here. Do you want to hang in? We're going to do some news, and we'll be out of here pretty soon.
Sure. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, let's take a break, and we'll be right back with news with Toby. All right. Well, let's let Chad weigh in. Chad, what's the deal with UFOs?
I have no idea.
Have you ever seen one, Chad?
No.
Could there be UFOs, aliens over here?
Sure.
Is it inappropriate to make fun of UFOs and aliens?
Aliens have feelings, guys. You need to watch it.